Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. It's been just a grand evening this weekend before Yule and Christmas and all that fun stuff. And for those of you on YouTube world, yes, I am wearing a sweater, but I got home, put on my pajamas, sort of, and my bathrobe because it's fuzzy and I can. So there. So we're being broadcast live tonight on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And if you're listening in on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And no matter how you are hearing me, make sure you stop in and say hi. So, hi, there's the camera. I moved the camera as I keep rearranging things. And it's a good thing it's a camera and I'm not going to stub my toe because that hurts. But if you can't say hi in the chat, send me an email at wildpaisley@gmail.com. That's WILDEPAISLEY@gmail.com. If you want to support the show, please do so. You can go to etsy.com/shop/Monarch Mountain Studio, MTN for Mountain, or you can go to patreon.com/TheSpacesBetween. Or if you just want to support my habit, you can always do the cash tag. That's $TheSpacesBetween. Call line is open tonight. We'll see how that goes. Unless I break it, of course. It could happen. That number is 213-233-3998. Or if you're across the pond in the UK, it's 44203-393-2871. Tonight, I do have a guest. Her name is Kathy, and we are talking about the planetary alignments and the way the energy is shifting and the adventure that I believe we're about to embark upon because, it's 2020. What could possibly be normal this year, right? So, Kathy, I think are you still on mute, dear? I think.
No, I'm not.
Okay, there you are. Hey, you're here. So, Kathy is someone I spend a fair amount of time with, and knower of all things stone and crystal. So we'll probably talk about stones and crystals and the importance of carrying tourmaline and that kind of thing. And also just the energy changes with the planetary alignments. So if there's anybody hollering in the chat room, I'll see what's going on. And see, I'm not sure which one. Yeah, so the ball that's over here. It's just a crystal. It's not a rose quartz. It's just a crystal, and I've got Christmas lights behind it, so it's all lit up and looks pretty. So, anyways, yeah. So how it goes? Busy day today, huh?
Yes, very busy day today.
It was good though. So
it's you alluded to it. 2020 has been an interesting year. Just when you think everything's maybe settling down a little bit, things shift up again. And, we're coming into a huge shift here come Monday on winter solstice.
Mm-hmm.
There's a planetary alignment that's happening, the Jupiter-Saturn alignment, where the grand conjunction happens, roughly every 20 years. But the conjunction this year, Jupiter and Saturn are so close that they appear to be one. And they're going to form what a lot of people refer to as the Christmas star or the Star of Bethlehem. But, energetically speaking, this is hugely significant for all of us. The timing of the events, it's important to understand. I mean, winter solstice represents, a great time of renewal and rebirth. The Christmas star represents Christ consciousness, which is an awareness, of our true nature, our higher self as part of a universal system. We're given an incredible opportunity here to clear all of our false concepts, patterns, beliefs, things we've held about ourselves and our world, and, recognize our birthright, our true nature, our higher selves, so that we can move into this era of consciousness. A lot of people refer to it as the age of Aquarius, dawning into this new age. Each of us have amazing gifts that we need to bring forward that are born of love. Now's the time to bring this to the world, to understand and embrace our full power and potential. We're not just physical bodies. We're spiritual beings, who have a physical experience. And in that physical experience, we have personal growth. So our mission here is to bring that forward, perfectly manifesting the love of Creator, that we have on this planet right now. So, I would highly encourage everyone to, get clear come Monday on where you want to go in your life and what you want to do, and bring this forward. There's a bunch of us that I think are called, and I'm sure your listeners are those that, we know there's something going on. There's a calling. We can feel it energetically. It's going to be really, really important that, we come together, we stick together, we talk, we share, we work together to move into this new era, new age. A good friend of mine who's an astrologer likened it. He says it's going to be a 220-year cycle, I think is what he said, that we're entering into now. And while, the age of Aquarius kind of began several years ago, this is the precipice. This is the point of no return. Excuse me. So we really need to get clear and move into this.
So,
I think
real quick,
go ahead.
People talk about the age of Aquarius. We've heard it off and on for the last 20 some odd years, ooh, the age of Aquarius is coming, et cetera, et cetera. What does that really mean? For those who have
to me,
no
what
idea.
It means, my understanding of all of this is, we've been in an age of what I like to refer to as a patriarchal society. It's been all about competition. It's about climbing over other people to get to the top of what I don't know. But it's all about, taking people out, stepping on people, pushing people down to achieve, and most of it's, I'm going to say in a materialistic sense, that people are striving for things that, go beyond what I'm going to say, this consciousness part. Coming into the age of Aquarius, I think we're coming into more of the feminine. So it's more about love. It's more about compassion. It's more about supporting each other, working together, embracing each other for who we are. You're seeing it so clearly right now in the world, especially, in the political arena. But it's really kind of interesting to watch that you see people, they're saying things that I don't think they're even realizing what they're saying. But everything is coming into the light. There's a lot of people that, have been doing, you can refer to it as shadow work, but it's those false patterns and beliefs that we all have, the programming that we've been raised with. So now that, everything is coming out, everything is in full view for everybody to see. And the key is, to come at this from that place, of love and compassion, and understand that, we're all just doing the best we can with what we have.
Yes.
If we don't know any different, then we don't know any different. But the key here is, to be really open-minded and look at all the, the potentials and the possibilities of things. For me, I mean, that's kind of the theme of my store, that, the name is 0 Point. And, the 0 point field in quantum physics is the field of possibilities. Mm-hmm. So it's where anything and everything, yet nothing exists. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a dichotomy. We have the potential to do whatever we want. Just because somebody says it can't be done doesn't mean it can't be done. It just means it hasn't been done. Mm-hmm. So, the age of Aquarius to me is fully embracing this feminine side, this cooperation. It's not about competition. The universe is abundant. There's enough for everybody. Whatever you want, whatever that is. It's just understanding that, and embracing that and believing it. Mm-hmm. I think that's a big shift for everybody, is getting to that place of knowing. You hear that phrase a lot. I'll believe it when I see it. And the key shift for me is, you see it and then you believe it. So it's you got to kind of switch it around. It's there. You just have to be open to seeing it. Mm-hmm. Manifest the expression of whatever you want.
Yeah.
All possibilities.
I've seen that at the shop in the past. People come in and they, for instance, with the singing bowls, they're like, do these really work? What do they really do? And then we use the singing bowls or play one of the singing bowls, and the awe that so many people express suddenly is like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. With the vibrations and the sounds and the effect they suddenly feel just with that small introduction of the right sound waves. And just so many people, though, they walk in, not necessarily disparaging it, but they don't really believe that sound could really affect them in that way, or make them feel that warm and fuzzy or that sudden openness. And then they listen to the singing bowls and they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And they get the goosebumps and the tingles and the OMGs, and it's like, well, yeah, we knew this. Thank you for listening for once. It's kind of like talking to a teenager. But yeah, I hope, as we move through this transition, I wish people just allow themselves to be open. They don't have to say, yes, I believe in everything. Just be open to the possibility, and it'll be shown to you. You'll experience it. You'll see it. You'll encounter it in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. And you talk about singing bowls, and it's really interesting because, if you think about it, we're over 70% water, our physical bodies. So, to bang on the side of a bowl with water, or throw a pebble into a river, you'll see the ripple effect. So any kind of frequency is going to affect you. Mm-hmm. And, it's interesting, like you said, to see people go, wow, because you cannot tap on those bowls or rub those bowls and not feel the frequency and vibration. I love doing that with, you'll get the bowls going, and, you just have people put their hands just close to it, 4 or 5 inches. Mm-hmm. And they're just blown away because they can feel the sound vibration, the frequency. And, these bowls have been around for thousands of years, over in the East. They use them for healing, instead of going to an acupuncturist or an MD here in the States, they go to these people mm-hmm. that understand, what energy, frequency, and vibration does in the body. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and crystals, it's the same thing. it's interesting to me that in the United States really is really far behind in a lot of this stuff. If you look at a lot of the research, I mean, we'll go science here a little bit, but science over here is always trying to prove that, it's woo-woo, or, there's nothing to it, or, stuff like that. But you look at some of the studies that they do over in Europe and even in the East, Asia and China and all that stuff. I mean, they've known this for years, for eons. One of the videos I did for the store, which, I went back and traced through that. I mean, any ancient culture you can find, including Christianity. It fascinated me when I found it was something in the Bible that talked about the Ark of the Covenant, and God had given instructions for the breastplate of the priest to go in and interact with the Ark of the Covenant. And in that breastplate were gems, crystals, and minerals for protection. So, there's something to this stuff. And, again, it's keeping that open mind.
Yes.
Just because you don't, or somebody said, or whatever it is, just be open to the experience. And, you can make the decision from there. We're just there to offer some new information. And, you can choose to do with that information whatever, you want to do with that information. But I think right now, especially with everything that's going on in 2020, so much chaos, so many people's lives have been turned upside down.
Yes.
That, to start looking for other alternatives, whatever those are, something that might bring you a little peace, a little security. And when it comes to the gemstones, I love it when people come in and, they're new to it and they don't understand. And it's like, just walk around, see what you're drawn to, see if anything resonates with you. And even if it's just a visual thing, if your eyes see something and, oh, that's pretty, or, oh, that's beautiful, it triggers something energetically inside of you that maybe brings you a little more peace. So, you don't have to get into, understanding every little aspect of what someone says, here, take this amethyst because, it's going to calm you down. Again, keep that open mind. What's it going to do for you?
So that's
What's
something
it going to do for you?
When I'm talking to my listeners or other people in person, it's like, this is the basics. Do your own research so you have the information for yourself. Journal it, write it down. What are you hoping to accomplish, and what did you actually accomplish? Because, not every stone, for instance, resonates the same with each person.
Right.
And some people, like, for me, the Bolivianite.
The Bolivianite. Yeah.
That was some awesome stuff. I could feel it in my knuckles. Wasn't something that I really have the urge to bring home. Pretty, love it, but it just. I'd rather bring home a piece of malachite, honestly, at this point. But it was the resonating though in my hand. It wasn't a warm, comfy, fuzzy healing. It was a, wow, let's put this down and walk away, and we'll be okay. So, but not everybody resonates the same. And like, other people in the shop, they pick it up, they're like, oh my gosh, this is great. So it's not everybody has the same response either.
No, and that's absolutely 100% true. It's, I think a lot of times what happens, especially with crystals, there was people call it new age, whatever the terminologies are. But, when we get into our heads and we think, we're going to go get this book on crystals and we're going to read up everything we can read to see what it does and how to use it and all of that kind of stuff, you're trapping yourself in, because you're going to pick up that stone and you're going to hold it and you're going to be like, well, that doesn't work, because you have this concept set in your head about, whatever somebody wrote in a book. And that doesn't mean that's the way it's going to be for you. So I think it's, a lot of these things, it's kind of a disservice, but it's a starting point, for people that want to get in and want to understand. My message would be, just don't take it as gospel. It's a guide.
Yes.
It'll help you, investigate, expand your awareness of things. I see so many people that, come into the store with a list. I need this stone for this, and this stone for this, and this stone for this. And, again, I think, you're limiting yourself when you do that. These tools were put here for us to use.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think we have a complete understanding of how to use those? Not yet.
No.
I don't think we do. I think there's a lot more, we need to learn and understand. I think, a lot of the ancient civilizations and whatever had a pretty good grasp on it. But again, there's so much we don't understand. I mean, it reminds me of the Native American culture that talks about, the heart of Mother Earth is a crystal, and science is catching up. I think just in the last couple of years, they've discovered that, at the Earth's core, it's not just magma, there and iron, and there's crystals.
Yes.
And you see things like you saw on, National Geographic with the selenite caves in Mexico. There's so much going on here that's energetically there to work with us if we pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
I think as, I'm going to say as a society in general, we've lost touch with just how connected we are to everything. And if we really pay attention, it reminds me, I was telling you the other day that documentary, My Octopus Teacher, that really brought it home for me. Here's a guy that spent, over a year just watching. And what he learned from that was incredible. But again, it brings us back to you've got to keep an open mind. And just because that's what you've read, or that's what you've heard, or that's what somebody's told you, doesn't mean it's true for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And coming into this age, we really have to pay attention to our inner callings, our intuition, we have so much information inside of us that we're just not tapping into, that if we do, a lot of things are going to be made clearer.
Yes.
Get out of the ego.
That intuition, we've, especially in, let's say, the last 100 years, roughly, here in the U.S. at least, our intuition has been kind of set on a shelf and pushed a little bit further back from the edge and further back into the back of the cupboard every year with every new thing that comes out. I mean, with the advent of the cell phones, how often do we stop and, how's it feel outside? And, I don't know. What's Facebook say? What's Google say? What's the Weather Channel app say? We,
Exactly.
we're so busy looking to see what the technology says life is supposed to be that we forget that we need to stop and experience life. We need to experience these things, not just, try to participate through the screen, which is one of the frustrating things about our society right now. Everybody's doing the Zoom conferences, and there's a reduction in the face-to-face interaction without some sort of shield in front of us between us and the next person. And I think it's negatively impacting our ability to intuit what other people are feeling or doing or needing. So for like energy work or crystal work or anything like that, the ability to really see the person and experience them is really being negatively impacted now with this next thing that we're having to deal with. And it's taken away our ability to really tune into that intuition, which is frustrating as all get out.
Well, yeah, and a lot of the ancient cultures talk about that, the three hearts.
Mm-hmm.
You have your heart, you have your head, and you have your gut. Which one are you going to listen to? Most of us are so stuck in our heads that we don't pay attention to our hearts or our guts. Mm-hmm. And, it's really, you're right. It's crazy to see, to get information to get information in the world today. What app can I use to get that information? When if you just go within, take some quiet time, and the answer will come to you.
Yeah, the answer will come to you.
We've gotten so far away from even trusting that. I see that so much today that, I kind of felt that, but, didn't really want to do that kind of thing. And, they're doing everything they can to brush away those little inklings that, are messages for us to pay attention to. And again, I think coming into this new era, it's going to become really critical to pay attention to this stuff. I'm watching things accelerate. Karma is a great example of that.
Exactly. So I'm going to stop you right there because we're about to go to a break. Since I am on the radio show, we've got a break about every half hour. It takes about 3 minutes, but we'll pick up karma because that karma bus is a. Not sure who's driving, but they got the four-wheeler going. So we'll be right back, you guys.
Within the sun.
my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between. Tonight, my guest is Kathy, and we're kind of bouncing all over the place, talking about energy and crystals and stones. And as soon as Kathy takes herself off of mute, we'll talk about the karma bus and. And then after we talk about the karma bus, maybe we should talk about your background just a little bit. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do.
So the karma bus, again, coming into this new age, what I'm seeing is there really isn't a delay in karma anymore. People used to be able to do things and it'd slide for a while and maybe it'd come back to you, 6 months, 6 years later. With this conjunction and this alignment in what's going on in our world right now, it's pretty instantaneous. And, again, moving into this, we need to review, what our thoughts are. It's not just our actions, but, what are the thoughts that are going through our head? And we need to understand that karma is just an expression. So, then, it's a punishment. It's, it's a negative thing. But, if we shift to that place of love and understand that it's just an expression, it's just there to show us something. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. And we're in complete control of what that looks like. Again, I won't get into politics, but, you can see what's going on there pretty clearly with, what I'll say, consequences, and as soon as we accept the responsibility that, these are consequences we created.
Yes. Yeah. And that's really true. I am seeing more people kind of reaping what they sowed. The crops are maturing faster, however you want to put it. The energy that you're putting out there is definitely coming back sooner and faster. I've seen it with other people that tend to get wrapped up in that negative headspace or that angry headspace. And they spit out that anger all the time, and man, that's what they're getting back. And it's hard to watch because it's like, dude, if you would just breathe again, and ground out some of that negativity, and switch your viewpoint from being, oh, I'm mad at everything, to this was an inconvenience, but I learned something. The inability to flip the mental part of it to a learning experience instead of just being an angry place is just, I don't know, it's coming back. It's coming back fast. I'm seeing it, and it's really hard to watch for some people. Yeah,
and the crazy thing is it's just there to show us something. That's all. It's just an expression. It's what we do with that. Like you said, we can look at it from a place of gratitude and say thank you, for showing this to me, or you can go into that ego headspace and get angry about it.
Yeah.
But again, all that's doing is bringing more of the same back at you. Which is, none of us want that.
No,
none of us want that. We all just we want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be loved. We don't want to be in those angry places.
Yeah, that anger, that, well, as as someone who wallows in that anger, it before too long starts impacting your immune system and your health, your quality of life, and your everything. If all you do is see anger and experience anger, is what? Yeah, that's all you're going to get, and you're going to be sick because of it. Question from the chat room is, if you're trying to show someone that positive thoughts do work, but they don't want to open up to the idea of it, how do you show them, or what? How do you make it easier for them to accept?
You know, that goes a lot deeper than positive thoughts. For me, and maybe this is a good segue to answer this question, is to kind of give you a little bit of my background, because, my explains a lot on where I'm at and how I've come to be where I am. There was, growing up, a lot of abuse, mental, emotional, sexual, physical. And trust me, I sat in that world of victim for a very long time. The words, why me? And, it destroyed my trust in people overall. And I became such a, I'm going to say, a control freak, because for me, what I had experienced in my life from the people closest to me that are supposed to love me and care for me, I didn't understand. So I had to literally figure out how to survive through control, because nobody showed me any other way. Mm-hmm. So as, my journey through life, and, a huge part of that has been crystals for me. I found solace in the exploration and the use of crystals. But, the key shifting point for me was understanding what gratitude is. I thought I understood what gratitude was, but I didn't. So when I was doing the work of clearing some of those old patterns and getting past the victim, I had such an incredible shift one day that when I was talking about my story, and, somebody wanted me to find the gratitude in it. And I mean, I was very confrontational in that, show me how I can find gratitude in this, and I laid out, the examples. There is no gratitude there. This is wrong. It's evil. It's mean. It's abusive. It's, all of that. And they made a comment to me that was really so simple. And my head heard it, but I don't think my heart heard it, which is, what if, this person, and I mean, I'll just say it was my dad. What if your dad was here to help you with this lesson? What if he was here to hold the energy on the other side of this, so that your life experience is going to take you to the place of your soul purpose? So sometimes that's a little hard to understand, but everything we go through here is about blossoming. It's about bringing forth this amazing being that was created from love forth. Mm-hmm. So, what if he was there to just hold that? And I'm like, okay, all right, I can wrap my head around that a little bit. But there was a conversation where it just clicked for me. And I went to a place of gratitude in that I understood that everything I've been through in this life is here to teach me and show me what incredible inner strength I have, how resilient I am, and that, having gone through everything that I went through, and I'm still a beautiful person. Mm-hmm. I'm a very giving person. I'm a very loving person. I go out of my way to help people. Mm-hmm. So the immense gratitude and understanding that, wow, yes, those are experiences, and yes, those happened. But to be able to turn it around and find the gratitude in anything. And, I know that's a pretty big statement, because there's a lot of ugly in this world. And, sometimes it would be really hard to, take a situation, say you lost a child. I mean, I can't imagine as a mother anything worse. To be able to find the gratitude in that. And, I don't want to simplify it too much, but it's really a focus on the positive. Okay. I don't want to stick with this example too much, but, if you lose a child, mm-hmm. however long that child was with you, the amazing gifts that you were given,
Right.
Brought forth to you in whatever time you had with that child. That's huge. We tend to get caught up in the mental, so to kind of get to that question, people just have to get to that place. And again, you can't force somebody. You can't say, if you just think positive thoughts and expect them to understand. It's really about being the living example. Be the best possible person you can be, live from that place, and they'll see it. And energetically speaking, if you're coming from that place, people around you are affected, whether they know it or not.
Yes.
The frequency that we put out is affecting everybody around us.
Yes.
And that, I think, is another point that, people don't necessarily understand, that, it's what we're putting out. And, if you say, well, if this person would just do this, or, if you're in a relationship, husband, wife, spouse, we get those little, just do this.
Yeah. Never.
Things would be so much better.
Right.
But, the key is, it's us. It all starts with us, and only us. We can't control what other people do. All we can do is for ourselves.
Exactly. And that's a lesson that I've had to teach my own children on more than one occasion. Control over the way other people act, the choices they make, and the way they respond to things. The only thing that you have control of is yourself. The way you respond to situations, the way you do things. And it's hard to watch others, keep beating their heads against that same situation over and over again. It's like, just stop. You don't have to keep going back to the same situation. You don't have to react that way. You could just not act. You could react in a different way. And for like my youngest boy, he's 25. He's my youngest boy. I've had to basically let go and step away for a while, because there's some lessons that he needs apparently to learn from life that I can't teach him, mostly because he's not ready to learn from me about when it comes to, he's the only one who can control his reaction to life, his reaction to situations. And so he's got kind of the victim mentality right now, which I don't understand, but whatever. If he really wanted, I could have shown him a totally different childhood. But the one he thinks he had, I guess. But yeah, it is really frustrating when I just see people reacting the same way over and over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's just not the way life works. I mean, if you're going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to keep getting the same responses. You're going to keep having the same interactions. And basically, you haven't learned a different way yet. Yet he will learn, or else. But yeah, it's hard. It is hard to just let them learn that other way to respond and react to situations, and learn that hard lesson. Because sometimes, even though I through Facebook and Messenger and just my other conversations I have with people, our circle, trying to teach people, you're the one who's in control of, how you respond, and you should probably journal it. And if you don't like the way you responded, well, try something else. It's not going to work the first time, so you have to keep trying it again and again sometimes. And but yeah, it's you got to learn a different way to respond to the situation or the stimulus, whatever it is, whether it's politics or education or people or family, whatever it is. If you don't learn to respond, that means you haven't learned the lesson, so you do learn it.
Well, and that's kind of a key, when we're triggered, and it's usually an emotional reaction. Um, it's something we need to pay attention to, because it's like, where does that trigger come from? There's something in our system, some event that happened at some point in our life that all of a sudden, like you said, you get that trigger. And, as long as you keep reacting to it emotionally, it's like you said, you're going to get more of the same. It's being able to step back and observe.
Yes.
I guess, to put it simply, really just, like you said, stop, take a breath, and look at the situation, because there's a million possibilities. Something as simple as, somebody cuts you off in traffic, and, you react. Well, what is the reaction? Because it really wasn't the person that was cutting you off. Who knows what's going on in their life, and that's kind of a key to help you, step back and look, is go, well, why did that happen? And then start running a litany of the, possibilities. Maybe they're in a hurry. Maybe somebody got hurt. Who knows what the possibilities, but, there was something that was really important for me a few years ago to learn, which is, we all come in to this experience with a soul contract. We're here to do something. We're here to learn something. We're here to, express our purpose, whatever that is. So, when we see somebody struggling, because we love, because we care, because we're compassionate, we want to step in and we want to help. But, the key for me was who to know what's better for them. Maybe that's better for me, but it doesn't mean it's better for them. And the last thing I want to do is interfere with their lessons.
Exactly.
So your son's a great example of that. They have to walk it. Whatever it is, they have to walk it, because we can tell people things all day long. Me personally, if somebody tells me something, it doesn't have the same resonance if I learn it.
Exactly. So we've got a caller from down under. Looks like we've got a call in from Australia real quick. You ready for it? Go ahead, Australia. You're on the line.
G'day.
Hey, Aussie. How you doing?
Not too bad. Now, we're talking about doing things for yourselves. Well, most of my life, I did things for myself. And these days, I'm afraid to do things for myself because I don't want someone to call me selfish. I don't like it. So how do I get over that?
Well, sometimes you have to be selfish to protect. I've said on the show on more than one occasion, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Meaning you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of someone else. And for those that are calling you selfish, are they just trying to, finagle your resources and your energy, or what are they trying to get from you that they're calling you selfish?
And this was my foster family, the people who meant to care for me.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, that one's hard. Is it because you're trying to spend time with yourself and learn what you want to learn, or is it?
Yeah, I try and do things for me, and whenever I've come close to, come close to knowing getting the, I don't know how to word this. Don't know, I've lost the words.
No worries. So often when a family steps forward, for instance, to foster a child, they are committing their time and their resources to care for that child, and subconsciously they think they deserve something as a result. I've seen this one. And take care of you first. And it's not so much that you're being selfish, necessarily. It's more you just got to take care of you.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to interject
Yeah.
here because instead of using the word selfish, try selfish. So
Ooh.
what you're doing is you're fulfilling yourself. It's not selfish ever to take care of you.
Yes.
Yeah. Just for a good 2/3 to 3/4 of my life, I've been told off for being selfish, but I've actually been trying to be self-fulfilling, but no, I've been throwing negative stuff my way instead.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
just remember that nobody's opinion of you matters except your own.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just for so long that's now how my mind's programmed. So now I have trouble fulfilling stuff for myself.
Well, if it's fun to help people and take care of people and make sure their needs are met, but if you're doing that to the detriment of yourself, it's really hard. I mean,
Yeah.
are you going to go fix your neighbor's roof and just let yours leak all over you and your stuff? That's not very healthy. Or are you going to go buy groceries for your neighbor but not eat food or buy food for yourself? That's not good for you either. You have to take care of your basic needs long before you can ever do anything for anybody else.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson that we all have to learn at some point. I've had to. It's really hard for me to take care of myself without stopping to think about others. Yeah, that self-care, that's hard. In part because it's easier to take care of other people than it is to take care of ourselves. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I like what Kathy said. It's not selfish. It's fulfill-ish or fulfillment. I can't talk tonight.
Fulfillness.
Yeah, fulfillness. I'm only drinking tea in the big cup. That's it. And I've got apple juice over here. So yeah, that's it. The apple juice and the
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah. That's tea with a bit of nightcap in it.
Not yet. I was gonna wait until after I got off air for the nightcap. Yes. So yeah, Aussie. You're not being.
No, I'm just joking.
No worries. You're not being selfish to take care of yourself and to do the things for you that you need to do. Clothe yourself, feed yourself, make sure you got a roof over your head, that kind of thing. That comes before taking care of someone else. That's why if you get on a plane and fly somewhere, part of what the stewardess says is put your face mask on with oxygen in case the cabin loses pressure before you try to help somebody else next to you, because you need to make sure you take care of yourself. So.
And it's a very compassionate thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's one thing I haven't had in my life, compassion.
Well,
I've tried to give it, but quite a bit wrong. Been told off for doing it. So.
Well, instead of trying to give compassion to others, take a deep cleansing breath there, Aussie, and give compassion to yourself. Forgive yourself. Allow you to just be you, man. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, just admit. Yeah.
Cuddle.
But one of those things that's easiest said than done after a long life of not being self-fulfilling.
Yeah, absolutely. Like 1976 in the chat, or says in the chat, if you can't save yourself, how can you help anybody else? How can you save someone else? So yeah, take a pup, say hi to the birds, and yeah, you're not being selfish, honey bunch. Take care of you. Prioritize you. It's okay. You're not being selfish.
Gosh, I prioritize me, and I still get told off for that.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Swear, it's like I get told off for it no matter what I do.
Well, they may be coming from a position of jealousy because they're not putting themselves first in their own lives. So we're about to go to commercial, my dear. Did you want to hold and pick it up after break, or you want to listen in?
No, okay.
All right. Thank you, Aussie. We'll be right back, guys. Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we're adventuring off into the spaces between. This is part of the show where I play the singing bowl. There it is. Move the camera, see? 5 Buddha bowl. Love my bowl. Kathy probably recognizes the bowl. I love how long it resonates. Because it just keeps going and going and going and going. And then I set it down, and everybody in the chat room says, hey, 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 do more bowl. It's like, that's not that kind of bowl, guys. So, yes. Yeah, it's amazing how much that I got the bowl because I like the bowl and I wanted to listen to the bowl, and I use the bowl every night on my show. because I'm missing some bumper music, and that's okay. And but everybody wants me, hey, do more bowl. I've noticed that Mr. Longbeard will come down and play the bowl when he's supposed to be working on a podcast. It's like, I'm not the only one. And Mini Me will do it too. She'll come down like, Mom, can I play the bowl? It's like, sure, you can try. She's been learning how to play the recorder, so maybe we'll get her one of those Native American flutes one of these days. Because she's getting good, slowly. There's a lot of noise coming out of it every so often, but she just makes up the little tunes as she goes. So, anyways, how you doing? Is that past your bedtime there, Kathy dear, isn't it?
It's way past my bedtime. That's all right.
Sunday mornings, last Sunday was it? My daughter woke me up because she made me breakfast. It was a piece of not quite toasted toast, dry, and coffee that was mostly milk. So I was like, oh, my stars. Child. So.
But, kids, here you go. Kids are great examples. If we could just pay attention more to the way the kids behave, because it's literally, they don't care, what somebody else thinks or what somebody else, how somebody else says to do something. I mean, it comes from a genuine place in their heart that they just want to do things. And they take the time, they try and figure it out, whether they get it right or not, doesn't matter. They just do it. And, we respond, like you said, even though the toast is dry and it's mostly milk, it's gratitude. Thank you. Because it's the symbolism behind what they did, not necessarily what they did.
Oh, yeah.
Love spending time with my granddaughter. I mean, it's amazing to me. She's such a reminder to get back to the simplicity of things and don't overthink it. The gentleman we were just talking to, it's so important that, we take time for ourselves because, it even kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, where you just be the best expression of you, whatever that is. And that's all we can do. We can't be responsible for how somebody else views that because 99.99999% of the time, it's got nothing to do with you. It's their stuff.
Exactly. People quite often, especially like with online stuff, they hear what's being typed or hear what's being said online through their own filters. So if they respond with a snarky attitude, they're going to read the comments on social media or chats with that snarky attitude. Or if they're in an angry spot, they're going to read the commentary in an angry place. And so that's part of the reason why the keyboard warriors, some of them didn't mean to. They just said something off the cuff. But because the people who were reading it were in the headspace of confrontation, that's how it's taken, and it's it's really hard. Like for me, one of my triggers is when someone says cultural appropriation about something that wasn't actually cultural appropriation. It's like saying, what was it? I was reading a message board and they said tarot was a closed practice, and people shouldn't just be trying to read tarot cards because it's a closed practice. And it's like, and somebody asked why, and the response was, well, it's cultural appropriation. I'm like, okay, you know what? It's apparently cultural appropriation is a trigger phrase for me. I go from zero. I go from complacent to rawr in about 2 seconds. Anytime I read cultural appropriation, because yes, there is cultural appropriation, but it's not what a lot of people think it is. It just isn't. So, anyways, yeah, we often encounter things, read things, experience people through our own filters and the things that we're used to dealing with. We don't always see it from where they're really coming from. So, speaking of coming from, let's talk about your background there, dear. Metatron's Cube.
So, okay, we'll get into the nitty gritty of my background. So, I was born and raised in Michigan. Spent most of my life there. Spent a brief respite in California. Couldn't handle that. Moved to Idaho. Michigan, that's actually how I got into crystals and rocks. My escape from my life was nature. So whether it was climbing trees or my grandparents had a beautiful little cabin on Lake Michigan. So I used to spend hours on the shores collecting and playing in the rocks. Petoskey stone was my first stone, fossilized freshwater coral. I don't know whatever happened. My grandma had a huge copper tub that she used to save all my rocks in. But anyway, and it just kind of evolved over the years with that. But done a lot of things, I put myself through college, waiting tables and working in the bar and doing that kind of stuff. Finance and business law was my focus. Went into the corporate world and did that for a while. But it literally made me sick. All kinds of physical problems and stuff. And at the time, I didn't really understand, typical, you go to the doctors, what's wrong, multitudes of tests and all that kind of stuff. But, for me, I knew, again, here we go back to the intuition thing again, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, I couldn't go back. I knew I couldn't go back. So what was I going to do from there? I don't know. Or didn't know at the time, but we were in California and both of us, for 5 years have been trying to get out. And, we just looked at each other one day and said, we're going. Don't know how it's going to happen. Don't know where we're going to end up, but we're going. So we put the house on the market and it's just amazing when you, this goes back to letting go, because for me, I had huge control issues. But, when I just let God, said, all right, I'm going, you just point me in the direction I'm supposed to go. And we had been vacationing in Montana for years, and it was actually my son's cardiologist that recommended we check out Sandpoint. And came across that long bridge and just fell in love with the lake, with the mountains. It's just incredible. Yeah. We settled down. We thought, we'll retire and just, raise our kids and enjoy life, ski and swim and boat and do all those kind of things. And that lasted for about a year before we got bored.
To say, I cannot see you as
just
retired.
Not my style.
Yeah.
But, there's a key point I missed here, which is when we moved, I needed a whole separate truck for my crystals and minerals.
A whole truck?
And after a whole new truck. And after packing those up, my husband said no more. And I said, well, you can't say that. I said, that won't work. So I decided that, I was going to open my own shop, where I could share my love for the crystals and minerals as well as other things with the community. It's interesting because I got a lot of pushback because a lot of people consider North Idaho as very conservative and Christian and, all of that kind of stuff, and said, you'll never make it. It'll never succeed. And I said, well, that's great, but I'm doing it anyway. So so in 2003, I opened my store. And, to say the rest is history is an understatement, because it has just evolved into really a staple in the community, but so much more than that. People come from all over the place, because we're a tourist town. I'm sure that's part of it, but we have these connections with people. But when you walk into my store, it's not just about purchasing pretty little things. It's about relationships. It's about community. It's about connecting with each other. And yes, we do offer tools and other things to help you on your journey. But for me, it was a place where people could gather.
Yes.
And support and communicate. And, it's a safe place. There's no judgment there. No judgment whatsoever. Even the people that will literally walk in the door and, start off on their woo-woo stuff, that's okay. That's your opinion and you're entitled to it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, it's my love, and that's where I am today. I don't see myself retiring anytime soon. Will it morph? Will it change? It always does. But I think what we have to offer, especially now, getting back to the shifts that are happening in our world right now, that it's super important, especially with all the limitations that have been put on us by governmental agencies. And, I understand, but, you're taking away something from us that's very, very important. And that's humans in a nutshell. Is we've got to have that contact, that communication, that ability to be together, to come together, and, light the world. So,
I've seen a lot of people coming in, like, and they'll be asking us, like, what do I use to help with the negative energy around me at work, or what do I need, or what do I do because I feel like I can't sleep well at night, or I feel like I'm having nightmares, or I'm just not resting. And there's so much to the energy signatures in the stones and the crystals in general that can help with that. That it's just, man, if it's it's pretty low key, low intrusiveness. It's low cost. I mean, you buy $20 worth of tourmaline, and at the end of the month, you still have $20 worth of tourmaline. You don't have to get a new prescription for another $20 worth of tourmaline, unless you really want to. So,
now there's an idea,
right?
That's what I should have told my husband. Yeah, sorry, it's a prescription. I gotta have it.
Right. Or sage. Sage is a big deal. Burning sage in your home is, just. Not only is it good for the energies, but it's good for the stuff in the air. What pet dander, the microbials, we'll just call it stuff because it's so all encompassing and it's G-rated stuff. And it's. I see a lot of people looking to buy sage, even on Facebook. I'm seeing people, hey, where can I buy some sage right now? Well, you can go online, or you can go to the shop because 0 Point's got sage, and it's good sage. It's not like, where did you find this? Well, I got it off the back of a truck that went through Walmart. It's Walmart. It's a different topic altogether, but that's good for us. Burning the sage is just straight up good for us, without being too woo-woo, because they're doing all those scientific studies now saying, hey, burn the sage, it's good for you. So, and I'm seeing more and more people looking for that online. Even the people in my world that are not woo-woo people are starting to be more woo-woo, if you will. Um, so yeah, it's I don't know. I think people
Well,
are waking up.
yeah, and I think you're right. The ancient knowledge is circling back. All the information is there. We just need to look for it. And there's so many little things that, whether you believe, sage is good for you or not, here's the deal. And it's the same with crystals. If nothing else, if you buy some sage and you take 5 minutes to burn that sage, you're taking time for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking time to clear your mind, to focus on you, to process whatever you want to process. The same thing with the crystals. You can't just, I mean, you can, but if you expect to just go in and pick up a piece of amethyst or citron or something and put it in your pocket, will it have an effect? Sure it will. But, again, it's about, I'll call them little mini ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just 5 minutes that you give to yourself to acknowledge, this little crystal being, which is, scientifically, they're living beings. They're alive. So, it's no different than a bumblebee or a bird or, an earthworm for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
The tools are available to help you focus on you.
Yes.
Which is, again, coming into this time, this is what we really need to do. There's, I think we see it all the time. You talked about it earlier with, everybody's got their faces in their phones and their apps and, the televisions, radios, whatever it is. That they're so disconnected from themselves and their surroundings that, again, this is really, really important right now.
Mm-hmm.
That we really take the time as human beings and as a society to be a little self-fulfilling. Call it
Right.
selfish, call it whatever you want. I don't care. I'm happy to be selfish because, what, I'm going to be a better person because
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking time for me.
Yes.
Which, again, in the long run, you and I know that, but, it's going to benefit those around us.
Mm-hmm.
What's that saying you always see? My kids got that for me a long time ago as a picture I hang in my kitchen. If mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Yes.
Yeah, and that applies not to just mamas, but, we have to be able to fulfill ourselves or we have nothing to give.
Yes.
It's love of self.
Yes.
Or we don't have any idea how to love somebody else if we can't love ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So very
Yes.
important right now.
Absolutely. Real quick question. Titan is a listener who tends to ask questions. So Titan asks a question and wants to know if what stones or crystals would be good for inflammation. Do you think? So I carry serpentine in my pocket pretty much all the time. It's kind of a healing thing.
Yeah, serpentine's a good one. I always like to go a little bit deeper into, what is the inflammation? What's causing the inflammation? Is it what type of inflammation?
Joint stiffness, and Titan says it may be more diet driven. Well, if it's diet, you silly goose, you need to change your diet.
Well, and we all know, there's so many toxins and whatever in our foods right now that, it's an uphill battle for anybody, even if you think you're eating right. So yeah, serpentine's a good one. Fluoride actually is a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Fluoride's amazing at creating balance and reminding us of the perfection of the body, or reminding the body, that it's designed to do what it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably two simple, really affordable ones.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love my serpentine. It was funny. The big box of tumbled stones at the shop. The first time the serpentine was out in that box, that's all I could see was the serpentine.
Well, and maybe that's what drew you to the Bolivianite, because it has serpentine in it. It's got serpentine and stitch-tite. So it might have been the serpentine.
Yep, it could be. But yeah, it really did. It made my knuckles kind of like, wow, that was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. It is amazing. I every so often I'll talk to people. They're like, "Oh, I pick up stones and I do this but it, I don't ever feel anything. Well, I don't ever feel anything." And well, some people don't, but it may be you've just got too many distractions that you haven't really just stopped and allowed that sensation to really travel, or maybe you don't recognize it as the sensation. So sometimes, yeah, if I pick up something like what was it, the Moldavite pendulums. Those, for all the bigger they were, they weren't very big, but they sure were heavy. So, yeah, just yeah. There's what the Crystal Bible, is that what it is?
The Judy Hall one?
Yeah. Judy Hall has the Crystal Bible and then the Crystal Bible 2. Those are both good.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked about those before on the show, just because, yeah, if you don't have a basic knowledge of the stones that you might need, you got to start somewhere. And Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook, they have information, but it may not be the best information. As you roll your eyes and shake your head no. So.
Well, and Google, right? Wonderful thing, but not so much. You can put in the search engine, whatever it is that you use, and just go through some of the searches that come up, and you'll find a common thread. There's a lot of stones. All stones are different. And you kind of pointed this out. Some of the stones have a more subtle energy. Some have a more dramatic energy. Moldavite is a very intense stone. I like to do that in the store with people that say, they can't feel anything. I mean, I'll pull out a Bojai stone, or I'll pull out a piece of Moldavite or a piece of apophyllite even. That I know that the higher frequencies in that stones, chances are pretty good that, even a disbeliever is going to feel something. Mm-hmm. So yeah, each stone is different. It's subtle. And, again, this is the mental side of things that, I think people go into it with a preconceived notion of, this is what I'm supposed to feel, or, because somebody had said, oh, I feel a tingling, or, oh, I feel warmth, or whatever. And when they don't feel that, then they're missing the subtle side of things. They're always working with us, always. Whether we can acknowledge it, see it, realize it, doesn't matter. That's the key is just, having the open mind to know that, there's a possibility. And like you said, it's a very affordable possibility. I mean, you can go pick up stones for, 25 cents. Mm-hmm. And, that's another thing I tell people too. Size doesn't matter in this case. Although, when it comes to moldavite, it might be a little overwhelming, but in general, it's the connection you make with the stones. Mm-hmm. And you don't need to go out and spend, thousands of dollars on crystals. You can go, pick up a little bag, which is why we have the little tumbled stone bin. Mm-hmm. You can get little representations of stones mm-hmm. for a nominal amount. So it's everybody's budget, because the way I look at it is everybody should be able to have access to this. Everybody, mm-hmm. not just the people that, are fortunate or, have a lot of cash in the bank or whatever. Everybody should be able to have access to these tools that, Mother Earth has put here for us to use.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. So, and yeah, sometimes that little chip goes a long ways. So
it does. It does. And the sage and the singing bowls, I mean, all of this stuff, it's a combination of things. But again, I think it's, how we choose to use them. Mm-hmm. We have to pay attention to them. We have to honor them, thank them, mm-hmm. Yes. for being there.
All right. Well, I'm going to stop you right there. We're about to go to our last break already.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does. Actually, it does. There's been a few times like, wait, break time already? What happened? How'd that happen? So, yeah. We're going to go to our last break and we'll be right back. We'll talk about some more Stones.
So mote it be the spell forever done. Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me the songs of Mother Goddess and the Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wild, and we are off adventuring into the spaces between because, yeah, why not? They fill everywhere. Talking tonight with Kathy, we're kind of going all over this place, talking about the energies of stones and crystals, and talking planetary alignment, and a little bit about age of Aquarius, and got to take care of yourself. Self-care is important. It is not selfish to take care of yourself. Period. I could make a sign that says that and probably sell it everywhere.
Probably could.
It. I have a sign that I have in my bedroom that I painted, and I don't remember who said it. But it's be yourself. Everyone else is taken. And anytime I forget to do the self-care, I look at it and like, oh yeah, I need to do that. Because in order to just be me, I have to remember to take care of me, or else I stop being me and I lose myself. And that's boring. I don't want to be like anybody else. Darn it. So I had a question in the chat room during the break. What stone would you recommend to awaken the pineal gland?
That's really an interesting question. And I love the pineal gland because the pineal gland is the only part of the body that actually contains crystals. So within the pineal gland is calcite.
Okay.
There are calcite crystals within the pineal gland. But to open the pineal gland, which basically is our third eye, I would recommend apophyllite. Herkimer diamonds are little sweet babies that'll work with that as well. Those are probably two to start with. You can get into the higher realms, but I wouldn't recommend unless you're familiar with working with stones like phenakite. Is another really good one, but that one can be like a moldavite. It can be overwhelming if you're not used to working with the energy.
Yeah.
So, but apophyllite and Herkimers, they're soft, sweet, subtle little energies. And you can actually, if you want to do it during a meditation or something, if you do it laying down, you can actually place, a little Herkimer, a little piece of apophyllite on your third eye while you meditate. It'll open that connection and, open that third eye.
I love Herkimer diamonds.
Oh, they're just amazing little beings.
Yes. When I love being able to just pour them out on the table and then put them all back together, make little piles out of them, just because they're fun. They're sparkly. Oh, my stars, are they sparkly? But they're just they scream to be touched. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have some in my little studio area. I point over there because that's where mine is. I'm in Dawn's studio area. My studio area is over there where I've got my workbench and I've got some projects on it. So we're not going to look at the workbench right now because it's it's a little crazy. There's some stuff on it, and but yeah, it's somebody asked, they said, I heard diamonds are worthless for these uses. So Herkimer diamonds are not your typical diamond, correct?
Herkimers are technically quartz. Technically.
So
they're a form of quartz.
Why are they called Herkimer diamonds then?
They're called Herkimer diamonds because it's the high carbon content in the quartz, and they're called Herkimers because that's the only place they're found is Herkimer, New York. So there have been some, I don't even know what they call them. They try and pass them off as Herkimers now. I call them Pakimers because they come out of Pakistan. They're like little Pac-Men, right? They're similar to Herkimers, but they don't necessarily have the carbon content that the Herkimers do. But diamonds aren't worthless. I mean, diamonds are good stones to work. In a natural form, they're just super expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something somebody's typically going to be able to go out and buy in any form, raw or otherwise, to work with. But Herkimers again are more that higher third eye crown. Working with the guides and masters and stuff with the diamonds, but Herkimers, they're great. They're playful, little, soft, amazing little beings that will help you connect to your higher purpose, to your guides, to your angels, whatever your word choice preference is.
Yeah, diamonds are just, you're right. They're kind of expensive. Even the raw diamonds are still crazy expensive.
Well, I have a few in the store. I mean, and you've seen them. I mean, they're teeny tiny for $25. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, yeah.
Which, again,
if you
marketing scheme.
Right? I can buy a lot of Herkimers for $25.
Exactly.
So what other stones would work better? Hold on, I'm getting some clarification.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's start. BPD said 1976. I heard diamonds are worthless for these issues. So we were talking about the pineal gland, and then he goes, "Is this true?" And then, do other stones work better? Yeah. So the Herkimer diamonds. Yeah, I'd say I would start there. Honestly, the Herkimer diamonds, because they are playful. They're relatively inexpensive, and they're easy to get. Which, even though they only come from New York, they're at least still available. Which,
yeah, I mean, any crystal store around you should have them available. They're not hard. As a vendor or as a retailer, they're not hard to get my hands on. So, again, anytime you source stones, my only recommendation would be, to check out who you're buying them from. I mean, there's, especially when people go online, because there's so much fraud online right now when it comes to crystals. People selling things as something that it's not. You see, just as a simple example, people think they're buying turquoise and it's dyed howlite. I've seen a lot of stuff coming out of Asia now because the supply on moldavite is getting scarce. So the Asian market has become really good at growing things that aren't real.
yes.
So just, my only recommendation is do your research, into who you're buying from and where they get them and how much, how long they've been in the business. And, I tell people, especially with my store, I said, I've got vendors I've been dealing with for 30 plus years. I know, and I get them from the miners. So I know where they're coming from. I know how they're sourced. That's another thing to pay attention to when buying crystals is, if at all possible, see if you can track down how they're sourced, because, it's unfortunately in a materialistic world, it becomes a money-making machine, and they go in and rape and terrorize Mother Earth, and that energy gets into the stones, and you don't want to take that on. So
yeah, blood diamonds.
Yeah, just a couple things to be aware of. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, blood diamonds are not just the way they're accumulated, but the taint that kind of goes with them, if you will.
It's energetics.
It is.
I mean, people don't understand energy, frequency, and vibration. It's all connected, and we just, we need to do our best to try and keep it as pure, especially now. It's really important in this day and age.
Yes, especially as the energy is changing. We don't want to just, it's not something that you want to throw some mud at and hope something sticks and something works out. But yeah, you really got to pay attention to where you're getting your stuff. Like Palo Santo, for instance, making sure it's ethically sourced. If you have, the shell. What is it? The shells that everybody likes to use.
The abalone?
Yeah, the abalone.
Abalone?
Those are becoming a little bit harder to source also. So if you have abalone, make sure it's ethically sourced or it's not painted. Because that's not so good either. And just sage, we were talking about that earlier. Not all sage is ethically sourced or appropriately harvested. Sweetgrass, same kind of thing. So, it's you got to know where your sources are, which is why shopping on Amazon or going to Walmart. Walmart has they call it a smudge kit. So to me, that kind of toasts my chestnuts a little bit. It's like it's not a smudge kit; it's a cleansing kit from Walmart, but it's $13.99, and you got about 4 different things. And it's like, so where's your Palo Santo from? They can't tell you. It's Walmart. The sweetgrass that's in it, they can't tell you where it's from. The abalone shell is about the size of a quarter. They can't tell you where that came from either. So it's not something I'm ever going to buy from Walmart. But yeah, you got to be aware of where the stuff is being sourced from. Because that energy follows it around. Sure, you can cleanse it, but there's still, you got to pay attention. Because where you invest your money in to buy things, that's where people are going to be, or look to find that same resource or use that same resource. So kind of like you put your money where your mouth is, you vote with your dollar, vote with where you're spending your money. You want to keep a business in business, you go spend your money there. That's, if you don't want to keep in business, spend your money somewhere else. So you got to, pay attention to where you're putting your money or spending your own resources. So, yes. Sorry, just double checking the chat. They're talking about smudge kits. Yeah, be aware. Just like the singing bowls that you have, you know exactly where those are from, right? They're not just some.
Yeah, and that's, again, relationships that I've built over 30 years. But, again, I say broadly Asia. A lot of stuff is manufactured to look like things. I know exactly the village that my bowls come from. It's the same village that's been doing it for thousands of years. My teacher that, actually taught me how to do the sound therapies and the protocols to work with the bowls and that kind of stuff. It's his village. And so, I know him personally. I know where they come from. I know who he is. And it's important, especially, because this kind of stuff we're using for us. We're using for our own personal growth, for, our own advancements. You want to be careful with what you're bringing into your world, and where it's coming from. Again, we have become such a materialistic society that people don't, and I'm generalizing here, but a lot of people don't even think about, where did that come from, or how did it get here, or, any of that stuff. I have to say that, 2020 and COVID has kind of brought that to light. I mean, I we have people in the store every day. You know, I can't get this. I can't get. I mean, we're having the same struggles, but you know, my vendors, like I said, they're private little miners that don't have the ability to produce catalogs and
Right.
you know, online businesses and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, is it hard for me to get stuff? You betcha. But am I going to go to these other places? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's too important right now with where we're going as a species and, you know, as a planet. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I think the coming year is going to be interesting. Hopefully, differently interesting than this last year has been. Yeah, differently. It's going to be as interesting, but hopefully differently. We've already done 2020. We don't need to do it over. 2021 can be something else.
Right.
Hopefully better.
Well, you know, we're in an evolution of consciousness. You know, it's about becoming conscious. You know, some of it, and you know, I'm as guilty as anybody else. I mean, there were years that, you know, I walked around with my head in the clouds and whatever, but you know, it's too important right now that we do everything we can to understand that, you know, we're souls incarnate. These are just physical bodies we're occupying at the moment, and we are so powerful beyond our imagine. If we come from our hearts and we come from love and we follow our purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, follow your purpose. Chat room's like, yep, get out your crystals. It's time.
That's right.
Yep. So we've got about 8 minutes roughly before we're done for the evening. What do you think is going to happen in the next year? Just a prognostication, just a little bit, with the energies shifting and everything.
You know, I don't want this to be taken in a doomsday kind of way, but it really is going to become very, very important that we get in touch with us, with ourselves. I think we're going to see more of, well, let's just say, you know, the ones that are doing the work are going to have an easier time of it than the ones that aren't. I think we're going to see a lot of people really, really struggling. And it's just, you know, it's just important to look at yourself. You know, are you doing what you want to do? You know, are you following your purpose? And, you know, we have to shift out of here. We just do. You know, that's the biggest thing that I've seen in 2020 is, you know, and it's shoved down our throat every day, you know, with numbers and statistics and, you know, all of this stuff. And, you know, they don't leave any room for hope. And there's always hope, always. You know, again, it's about, you know, being responsible to ourselves, you know, have some compassion, some understanding, be able to, you know, kind of step back and, you know, just send love. I mean, there's not a human being on this planet that doesn't deserve our love and compassion. Doesn't mean they have to be in our lives, and doesn't mean, you know, we have to partake in their stuff, but, you know, just to hold the energy, for the people that will be struggling, I think what's happening, especially right now that we're seeing, is everything has to come into the light. Everything is going to be exposed. And we've seen a huge part of that so far, probably more towards the end of this year than in the beginning. But we're going to see a lot of information come out. We're going to see a lot of crazy things that I think we all kind of knew was going on. And now it's just like right there. Okay, you know, there's your verification. So, you know, we'll see a lot of that. Don't step into the fear of it. You know, as long as we stay true to ourselves and we hold that love and compassion, we're going to be just fine. We're going to be just fine. And, surround yourself with like-minded people. That's going to be a key, coming into this is not, not partaking in what I'm going to call the drama of, circumstances and whatnot. Find your place of respite, take time for you, focus on what you want to do. If nothing else, this has kind of been a year of, while it's been difficult for a lot of people, it's a huge opportunity, for people that have lost their jobs, and stuff like, it's an opportunity. What do you want to do? What do you really want to do? Not for a paycheck, but what do you really want to do? Because if you are following your purpose and you're doing it with all of your heart, the money will follow. It just does. That's what the universe wants to do. It wants to give you everything you could possibly need. And, again, it's being in service. Whatever that means, that's part of my morning ritual. I get up, I burn my sage, I say my little things. And the last thing I say is, I am in infinite service to you. Show me with clarity what you want me to do.
Yes.
And I'll do it.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good ritual to have every morning. Your daily devotion. And it doesn't matter who your higher power is, whether you're pagan or Christian or Islamic or Jewish or whatever. Your daily devotion is not just your reaffirmation of yourself with the spirits you work with, but it's also that just few moments of self-care to make sure you're prioritizing yourself, and your emotional and your mental health is every bit as important as anything else you might have going on, if not more so. Because if your head's in a bad place, your body will follow.
Yep.
So, one last quickie question. So, with empaths and such, as moving into this transitory time, what's a good stone to keep on you for protection?
For empaths, and those are generally the water element people, I'm going to generalize and say anything with the violet ray, the flame of Saint Germain, is highly protective for empaths. So, amethyst is a good stone, charoite, sugilite, those could tend to be a little more expensive.
I carry a little piece of tourmaline, but I'm not very empathic.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Like I said, anything, and you can't go wrong. I mean, even fluorite, if you stay away from the greens and the blues and get something that's more purple, fluorite is just an overall good stone. It eliminates dis-ease, and it reminds us of, the perfection in everything, including us. Boy, I'm drawing a blank on purple stones right now. See, it's past my bedtime.
Lepidolite?
And I worked all day and my brain's shot.
Amethyst, lepidolite.
Oh, lepidolite's a good one. Lepidolite also helps ameliorate chaos. That's one that I have in my grid right now for humanity.
Ametrine.
Ametrine's good. It's got the citrin in there, which will, alleviate transmute the negativity, let's say.
So yeah, there's a few. So this is one of those opportunities. Do your homework. Do your research, guys.
Well, and like
find
I said,
the one that's going to be
just
best
remember
for you.
violet ray.
Yeah, violet. Violet's good. I love amethyst, especially the darker amethyst anyway. So, all right, folks. Well, It's been an adventure. We've got Yule is coming up this next week. I'm not going to be on because, hey, it's Yule. So happy Yule. And then Christmas Eve is coming up. I'm not going to be on Christmas because it's a family day for me. And so happy Christmas. The day after Christmas, though, hey, you never know. We'll be on. I'm planning to be on. We'll see what happens. And so, yeah. Thanks for joining all. Kathy, just hold on a second. So, Merry Meet team, Merry Part, and Merry Meet again. And we'll see you next Saturday. Have a great day. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having me, Danielle.
Is now forever done.